Thank you. That concludes the debate. Councillor Hartley, as mover of the motion, would you like to respond?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to firstly thank my colleagues in Lib Dem, Conservative and Green groups for their support for this motion. To the Labour group, rather than try to convince you myself, I hope the thoughts of Labour politicians on the mayoral system will convince you instead. Former Labour Cabinet member and councillor Paul Smith said, "Backbench councillors are like mere window dressing." Former Labour councillor Mike Davis said, "Under the mayoral system, so much experience, talent and expertise has gone wasted." Former Labour councillor Jo Sargent said she'd be campaigning for a committee system which enables true democracy and accountability. And former Labour councillor Harriet Bradley said local democracy is threatened by the institution of the mayoralty. Your former colleagues understand that we need a referendum. Earlier, Councillor Pearce said that we need clear and decisive action. Well then, Steve, support this motion, put the issue to bed in a referendum, then we can move on clearly and decisively. Both the Labour speakers said there's no public support for a referendum. Well, echoing Councillor Eddy, many residents of my ward have repeatedly asked me when we can get rid of the mayoral system. Of the 32 public statements in public forum this evening on this motion, only one supported the mayoral system, and that was from a business lobby group. The people of Bristol want and deserve this referendum. I compel members this evening to back democracy, back accountability, back good governance and back this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Rees, would you like to respond to the debate?
So, with all the mayors around the world, I didn't know that we were working together to undermine democracy, the 300 city networks that are around there. So, look, let me start by saying I've already been clear that I am not standing again. So I'm not talking about my future within the city, despite one of the councillors' statements. I'm talking about the future of city. It's also worth pointing out, just as a matter of knowledge and improving the quality of debate, the Metro Mayor is not the same as the City Mayor. It's a very different role. They have the same word, but it's not the same role. And it's really important that as we talk to the city, we are clear about that. I'd also just remind you, I'm really interested in all these conversations people are having about the mayor. I went to the Wetherspoons pub just a few weeks ago after Remembrance Day. None of the squaddies in the pub were talking to me about the mayoral model. And Paul Hassan posted on Facebook, "Is this pantomime season?" And I think that really captures it. Look, first off, if I could just work through these things. We face challenges in Bristol right now, as been set out: adult social care, cost of living crisis, housing crisis, climate change, ecological emergency, COVID recovery. We could be debating those challenges here today. Instead, we're talking about ourselves. And actually, if you want an example of what happens when the council gets together and talks about itself rather than the mayoral model, which I think has liberated political leadership to engage with the city, it is right here this evening. Rather than those crises, we are talking about internal structures and processes. And the second thing I'd say on the substance is this. The question is not what makes us comfortable. The question is what model of leadership will enable us to deliver the challenges at the scale and pace they are facing us right now. Ecological emergency, climate emergency, inequality, the global migration crisis, housing crisis. No one has asked the question, what model of governance will enable us to deliver the challenges Bristol faces right now? And actually, form follows function. We need to deliver a model that will enable us to deliver the urgency of those challenges right now. If you ask that question in an honest way, fill your boots. If you think that the committee system would deliver that leadership with that pace, then great. Make the argument. But please don't do a disservice to those people in the city who have fled oppressive regimes and dictatorships by claiming that they're here in Bristol. If you talk to some of my friends who have come to this city and you start talking to them about despotism and Stalinism and all that type of stuff that I'm supposed to embody, it's an absolute insult to people who have made their way through refugee camps. Don't do that. Secondly, sorry, I'm running out of time, Lord Mayor, but look, there's so much to say here. Democracy, again, invisibility of decision-making is one of the ways to undermine democracy. You have visible leadership in the mayoral model. People want to know when they can get rid of me. They had a chance in May. and then now I'll be gone in 2024. One of the things that you're talking about here is taking away a vote from the people of Bristol to choose who their political leadership is. What will happen is the decisions over leadership or non-leadership will happen in this room, and the inability to make decisions will be made anonymously in committee rooms in this building, just like they used to. And I've lived in this city for a long time. I worked under the leadership that people have talked about. I worked under Councillor Hopkins. And in my time working in the NHS and working at the council, look, I don't want to burst any bubbles, but we were not a smooth delivering city that was breaking ground and building national reputation for delivery. That history just never, ever existed.
You are running out of time, or have run out of time. So
okay. Can I just make one final point, and I'll just choose this one carefully. A lot of people have talked about delivery. Again, there was no history of delivery. Many of the controversies that we face right now are because we are getting stuff done, whether it be building houses, putting in pedestrianisation, the clean air zone, the bus gates, tackling child hunger, revamping the whole housing letting system. Stuff is happening. To say that it's not, it's just flatly untrue. Okay. So let's have the debate, but let's make it a mature debate in which we're really honest about the ups and downs of the different options that we face.
I think the point's made. Thank you very much. Right, okay. We're going to move to the vote now. This is going to be an electronic vote. As soon as we are ready. Please vote now. Okay, so we have 41 votes for, 24 against and 2 abstentions, so the motion is carried. Thank you. We're going to move straight on to the silver motion. And I call Councillor Holland on behalf of the Labour Group to move the motion, please. Councillor Holland, you have 3 minutes.